$3,600 US to buy a second-hand RED camera. Can you believe that? Today I'll show you how. Here we have the RED Scarlet-X. This camera is currently hot in second sale. The reason is a lot of people who are waiting for the RED Komodo to come out want to purchase that one, and they're selling their older RED cameras, such as this one. So first thing we should know is that on eBay there are also some options, but today I'm showing it with the Chinese app. On multiple platforms we can see that this camera is now sold at a very low price, and you still have a little bit room to negotiate. Usually the camera packages are sold like this. We have the camera brain, a PL mount, and also a RED touch monitor. Then sometimes they give you multiple RED mag cards where you can record your media on, and also a card reader. So if you already do own PL lenses, then I don't know why you're watching this video, but if you own EF mount lenses, then definitely I would recommend to buy another RED EF mount. So the cool thing about RED cameras is, except the Raven, all their cameras you can switch their mounts to your needs. Okay, now that's way better. And because you purchased the EF mount, I recommend you can think about if you still need the PL mount, you can sell it so you can get the price down back again. Up next important is also how should we power this camera. If you're lucky, then the seller will say, I have this side grip mount here and it's kind of a bit hard for me to sell it separately. So he might just give it to you along with the camera package. If he does that, maybe you can find these very cheap RED volt batteries. So the cool thing is you can open it up here, just like a DSLR. Put the battery in and then attach it like this. So this battery will only power the camera for about 45 minutes. It's very short because it's more designed for like run and gun style shooting, handheld like DSLR. But if you want to have a longer run time, usually they do come with like a Vmount plate or like with rails and then Vmount plate. And then I would recommend these type of Rolex Vmount batteries. They will hold you at around 1 hour and 45 minutes. And they're also pretty cheap to get now. So this I would say is now kind of bulletproof for client work. So if you want to use these small RED volt batteries, you will most likely need a charger and at least 3 to 4 of those batteries. So you can keep rotating them, charging them, using them, and so on. Now what if you don't even own an EF lens and you just want to take the camera and go outside and create? In this case, I would go for a Canon 17-55. And this lens is pretty much covering all the focal lengths you need. It has like an aperture of f2.8, so good also for a bit of a low light situation. And it's similar to a 24-70 lens on a full frame camera. I don't have the exact same lens, but a similar one. And at the end, you will have something complete similar like this. When purchasing it secondhand, of course, there are some risks. So in this case, I actually have a professional checklist. So I'll try to get in touch with the seller and then try to, if possible, meet up with him so I can check out the camera personally. In this case, I have a list. And here we can see things such as check if all the screws are on there, check if any cables are loose, and many more. Beside that, I think it's important to note that this list is not 100% proof, but it will help you a lot to minimize the risk. And of course, it's also good to know what are the downsides of this camera. So 4K, you can only shoot max 30 frames per second. 3K, you can shoot max at 48 frames per second. You do have the kind of slow motion capability for that a little bit, but really not that much. And if you go 2K for 60 frames per second, I feel it's not perfectly usable anymore because it also crops into the sensor and it's not sharp anymore. And another thing to consider is you can only shoot RAW on this camera. The file sizes are therefore going to be big. In this case, I would definitely recommend to have at least one hard drive that has 4 TB on it. There are two ways to solve this issue. One thing is if it's a very high client job and you need to have insurance and you need to make sure that you get the best quality out of it, then definitely go with the RAW. But if you are shooting for like a documentary or a very simple social media style of advertisement, then ProRes is actually the better way to go. So how I would usually do it is I'll take the RAW files and take the Adobe Media Encoder, transcode them all into 1080p Apple ProRes HQ422 files. Because you shot it with a 4K sensor, image quality later with the ProRes file, it's still very sharp and you can still do some scale-ins and it will be worth it. Package smaller so you save more space on your hard drive. Another very good reason why to get this camera is if you want to get more into the RED ecosystem, increase your filmmaking skills. The RED cameras actually, their firmware is pretty much similar to what is currently nowadays available. Also, when you take it out, you can really have more time with it and shoot with it to get to know all the deep functionalities such as gyroscope and so on. And when you shoot those client works, you can then rent a higher version of the RED and give this second RED actually as a B cam to a friend of yours who's also very good at it. They will match perfectly in post because they're all in the same ecosystem, so your colorist will also save more time. So if you buy a Sony a7 III camera and then add on a lot of other accessories to it, it's also quite a similar price. So which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments below. And feel free to also subscribe to this channel to see more awesome content like this.